It's 11:17 p.m. where you are. 2:17 p.m. back home. You're in a bunk. Dust. Recycled air. The call has been trying to connect for 40 seconds. She always picks up immediately. A bill alert. On your locked screen, behind the call. $2,847. Due in 48 hours. You don't look at it. The call is connecting, but the number sits there, at the edge of your awareness, the way a bill always does when you don't have an answer for it. She picks up, and in the first 2 seconds, before a single word, you already know. 9 years of marriage, you know the specific stillness on her face that means she has been holding something together all day and is about to let herself not do that, just for the length of this call. She doesn't say, "I need money." She says, "The grocery run was $261. She holds up the receipt toward the camera. You lean closer because the number doesn't make sense. $261 for 1 week of food for 3 people. 2 years ago, same cart, same store, same family, $178. That's $83 more every single week. $83 a week is $4,316 a year on a salary that has not moved 1 cent. She says, "I'm fine, I just wanted you to know." You nod, because what else is there from 7,000 miles away? The call ends. Laptop closes. Screen dark. You sit in the dark. This is not a story about war. It's a story about what inflation does to a family budget when one half of the family is somewhere it cannot be reached, and about what you can actually control from 7,000 miles away when the economy turns against the people you love most. 6 months earlier, you and her, kitchen table, going through the budget together. The numbers worked. Barely, but they worked. You remember thinking, "This is fine. We can do this." Monthly take-home, $4,833. Fixed costs, mortgage, $1,920. Car payment, $340. Insurance, $180. Phone, $90. Total fixed, $2,530. Variable costs, groceries, $640. Fuel, $220. Utilities, $160. That left $1,283 of breathing room. It was tight, but it breathed. The assumption built into every one of those numbers: prices stay flat. Groceries stay at $640. Fuel stays at $220. Rent stays where it is. That is the assumption, and it is the assumption inflation destroys, not dramatically, not all at once, but weekly, quietly, in the items your family needs to simply exist. Here is the mechanism in one sentence. When oil prices rise, transportation costs rise, and every product that moves by truck, ship, or plane becomes more expensive, which is almost everything in a supermarket. The economics textbooks call this the energy food transmission channel. Your family calls it the receipt. The economists measure it precisely. Oil at $75 per barrel adds roughly 0.5% to headline inflation. That is $500 of extra annual costs on a $58,000 income. Oil above $100, 2% or more, over $1,160 of extra annual costs. Those are not abstract percentages. Those are your grocery bill, your rent renewal, your fuel tank. And there is a protection mechanism specifically for this. COLA. Cost of living adjustment. When inflation rises, military pay is supposed to rise with it. Supposed to. The lag between inflation moving and COLA arriving can be 6 months, 12, sometimes longer. That gap, the months your family pays the new prices before your pay reflects them, that gap is where the damage happens. When you deployed, that gap was already open, 6 months wide. Your family was already inside it. Before you go, one question. If you were her, 2 children, a mortgage, rising bills, no second income, what would you do first? Cut expenses? Find extra income? Ask for help? Hold the line and hope it passes? Most people don't have a clean answer to that. That is exactly what makes the next 4 months hard. You deployed. Budget that worked at prices that no longer exist. A cola lag already open. A wife managing it alone. 3 months in. Her weekly text. Grocery run done. You ask, how much? She sends a number. You scroll back through 12 weeks of numbers in the thread. Week 1, $189. Week 4, $203. Week 8, $227. Week 12, $241. It doesn't spike. It climbs, steadily. A spike feels like an accident. A steady climb feels like a decision someone else made that your family is paying for. Then the receipt. Week 14, $261. You don't just look at the total, you look at what's inside it. Eggs, $6.89, up 60% from last year. Ground beef, $13.40, up 42%. Bread, $5.20, up 31%. Cooking oil, $8.90, up 55%. These are not luxuries, these are Tuesday. Then the fuel text. Filled the tank, $61. 3 months ago, $43. An extra $18 every fill. She fills up twice a week. That's $36 a week, $144 a month, just to get the children to school. Then Ellie needs PE shoes, $38. $38 for a child's shoes should not be a significant decision. This month, it is. And then the rent renewal. A letter she photographs and sends you. She doesn't say anything when she sends it, just the image. 22% above the current rate. Your current rent, $1,920. 22% above that, $2,342. That is $422 more per month for the same house. You do the math on the phone. Groceries up from $640 to over $1,000 a month, $360 more. Rent renewal, $422 more. Fuel, $144 more. Utilities, $80 more. Total new monthly cost against the same income, $1,006 more per month than 6 months ago. Here is the question that follows you. Do you tell her to sign the lease, absorb the $422, and find the money somewhere? Or do you tell her to push back and risk the landlord finding a different family to rent to while she moves 2 children mid-school year? You're 7,000 miles away. She lives with whichever answer you give. What do you tell her? You open the household budget, the shared spreadsheet, the same one from the kitchen table 6 months ago. Separately, you know each number has moved. Together, they become a verdict. Monthly take-home, $4,833, unchanged. Fixed costs, $2,530, unchanged. But now, groceries, $1,040. Rent renewal if she signs, $2,342. Total outflow, $4,912. That is $79 more than you make every month, in the red before a single emergency. $79 in the red every month, with no cushion, no emergency fund, the transmission still making its noise, 2 children who will need winter coats in 60 days, about $120 you do not currently have a plan for. You are the financial co-pilot of this household, and you are flying it from a seat you cannot see. Here is the insight that no economics course ever teaches clearly enough. Inflation doesn't feel like numbers. It feels like choosing what your family loses. It feels like standing in a grocery aisle, deciding if the cereal your daughter loves is worth the extra $1.40 this week. It feels like not mentioning the transmission noise so he doesn't worry. It feels like calculating how many more weeks before the account goes below zero. That is what inflation actually is. Not a percentage, a series of quiet sacrifices made by people who did not create the problem. And here is the question nobody wants to ask out loud. She has been offered a part-time position, $800 a month extra. But the hours mean the children are home alone from 3 to 5:30 every day. Or she stays, and you find $800 somewhere in a budget that is already $79 underwater. What do you tell her to do? His number has been in your phone for 8 months. Financial Readiness Coordinator. You've never called. There is a specific pride in service that makes asking for financial help feel like a failure of the mission. You sit with that feeling. Then you call anyway. He picks up on the second ring. He listens to all of it. Then he says, "You already did the hardest part. You looked at the actual numbers." Most people wait until the account is empty. The coordinator walks you through 4 frameworks, not magic, structure. First, separate fixed from variable. You cannot renegotiate the mortgage from here. You cannot adjust the car payment from a barracks room. But groceries? 640 to 1,040. That column moves. That column you can work with. Second, the grocery budget. His number, $140 a week, is achievable without reducing nutrition if shopping changes. Meal planning around weekly sales cycles, proteins bought in bulk on discount weeks, pre-packaged items reduced. They carry the highest markup per calorie of anything on the shelf. It requires more time than she has, but it requires less money than you don't. Third, the lease. He tells you something you didn't know. Military families have legal protections under the Service Members Civil Relief Act, the SCRA. It doesn't eliminate the renewal increase, but it changes your negotiating position. You have standing, which is not nothing when the other side doesn't know you have it. She has 72 hours to respond to the landlord. The clock is running. You send her the SCRA information. You call her on a 5-minute connection window. The line keeps breaking, and you say, "You have standing. Use it. Tell them your situation. Tell them you are a military family. Tell them you know your rights." The call drops. You don't know if she heard all of it. 10 seconds. You're waiting for her text. The ticking is still there. 5 seconds. The budget is still $79 underwater. You have to decide right now whether to send one more message or trust that she has what she needs. You're a soldier. The mission is to protect what matters. 7,000 miles away, in a barracks room with intermittent Wi-Fi and a spreadsheet that shows negative $79, that is still the mission. The front line just moved. It moved to your bank account. Fourth, the emergency fund. $1,000 in 60 days. Every non-essential subscription canceled. $51 a month recovered. Every discretionary purchase deferred. Every dollar that isn't fixed cost into the reserve. He gives you one final number. A family with a $1,000 liquid cash buffer is 4 times less likely to carry high-interest credit card debt through a financial shock. 4 times. You write it all in the shared document. Budget adjustments, grocery strategy, SCRA brief, emergency target. You share it. 4 minutes later, okay, let's try this. 4 months later. 2-week leave. You walk through the front door at 6:43 a.m. Before unpacking. Before sleeping. You go to the kitchen. She's already awake. Kids are asleep. She's at the table. Same table. Coffee. Laptop. She turns it toward you. The shared document. The budget you built together from opposite sides of the planet. You sit down, and you look at it together. For the first time. Together. The numbers are not fixed. Inflation did not reverse. Groceries are still higher than a year ago. Rent is higher. The transmission. $840. She paid it from the emergency fund. The fund recovered to $530 positive within 6 weeks. She did not miss a mortgage payment. She did not miss a utility. She did not touch the credit card. She negotiated the rent to 12% instead of 22%, saving $262 a month, every month, for 12 months. She managed it. Alone. With 2 children. While you were somewhere you could not be reached by anything except intermittent Wi-Fi and a shared document. Here is what this episode was actually about. Not COLA formulas, not CPI methodology, not SCRA subsections. Those are the tools. The actual lesson, inflation doesn't announce itself. It doesn't send a single bill. It compounds quietly, weekly, in eggs and fuel and rent renewals and children's shoes. And for families already carrying the weight of distance, of absence, of a job that cannot be paused, the financial margin is always thinnest in exactly the moment the pressure is highest. COLA exists for this. The SCRA exists for this. Financial readiness programs, free at every major installation, exist for this. These tools don't solve the problem, but they move you from "I don't know what to do" to "here is what I can control." When everything is moving against you, that shift is the difference between surviving this month and not. You survived this time. The plan held. Barely, but it held. But next month, the numbers come again. Prices don't stop moving because a family survived last month. And the month after that, the numbers come again. This is not a crisis. This is the new arithmetic of a household in an inflationary period. The math doesn't care that you're deployed. It just keeps running. The war isn't just out there. It's in your budget now. What would you have done?